Welcome to Monsters of the Midway, your home for the Chicago Bears. I'm Anthony of Sports Fluent, and as always, I'm here with the producer, Mike DeFran. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Decided to rock the Khalil Mack jersey today. I'm in a good mood. Let's talk some Chicago Bears. I'm excited.
You know, I'm glad that you're in a good mood. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into the questions and see what we got for this week.
I guess the first one is kind of a nerve-inducing question. How worried are you about the defensive backs, more specifically about the corners? Because we cut Desmond Trufant, we cut Artie Burns. Right now, the only guy I really feel confident in is Jalen Johnson. So, kind of, what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
I'm very confused with what the Bears are doing defensively this entire offseason, not just with the cuts to their cornerbacks recently. You're cutting veterans. You're cutting guys like Trufant, who, look, maybe they're not superstars, but they're those core guys, those veteran guys that you need to make a run. And earlier in the offseason, when they signed Andy Dalton at the cost of Kyle Fuller, who then I think the next day signed with the Broncos, I was already starting to get nervous about what the defensive back room was going to look like. And look, when you look at other people and what their analytics tell them is we're going to have a horrible secondary. So I'm hoping that the Bears coaching staff, the Bears front office, they're seeing something in practice. They're seeing something in coach's scheme that says, hey, we've got the pieces. Because right now what I see is a team that's going to rely heavily on their front seven, specifically on Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, and others. And that might be a recipe for disaster in a league that throws the ball as much as it does. Just think about it. We're in a division with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to sling it, right? With Kirk Cousins, who, depending on the day, but let's be honest, they're going to throw the ball. And we're look, okay, we don't know what we're going to get from the Lions, and okay, maybe I'm not as scared of Jared Goff as the others, but they're still going to be throwing the ball. So, and when you just look at the receivers, right? You've got a Thielen, you've got I'm drawing a blank on unfortunately on a. Yeah, there we go. Jefferson. He's so good that they let Stephon Diggs go. Right? That's how good he is. So it makes me very nervous. I'm confused by the moves. But like I said, I can only say, well, let me see, because maybe they know something that just I'm not seeing.
So I guess this is kind of like a follow-up question, or maybe going into more detail, but obviously, Sean Desai is our new defensive coordinator. He's been on the staff for a while, just got promoted. A lot of players really like him. What are your expectations on how he's going to run the defense? How, I guess, the defense is going to perform? We've already talked about there might be issues with the corners. What do you expect from Sean Desai as the defensive coordinator?
Not expect they're going to be aggressive, because if they're going to be so reliant on their front seven, and they're going to have, just be honest, a young, unproven defensive backs, that I figure that they're going to have to rely on putting a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks, not giving them a lot of time to throw, and making some mistakes. The one thing about the Bears defense that it's been interesting, you can go back to Lovie Smith's cover 2, where it seemed like it was this kind of bend but don't break defense. And even when Fangio came in and others have come in, it has felt the same way, regardless of the personnel, regardless of the play calling. I always feel like the team's going to give up some yards, and the occasional, which drives me nuts, but the occasional big play, which I think they're going to do. But they keep it mostly tight. They keep everything in front of them. Like I said, they'll give up those yards, and they'll settle for converting. When I say converting, a touchdown into a field goal. And that's kind of been their MO for a long time. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same. What scares me is those big plays, because I'm not sure about the defensive backs. And again, I'll go back to what I said. I might say this 10 times today. I'm hoping that they see something in these guys that just I haven't seen yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're gonna
And
have
look,
to be.
sorry, I was just going to jump in because just to finish the one thing, I feel really good about Sean Desai and his what he's going to bring to the table. Like from everything we've seen about him, he's worked his way up the ranks. Like I said, when players like you, especially on defense, it does give you this added piece that I think most people underrate. So he's got those things going for him. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he's got something up his sleeve. And I'm not going to look at what we saw in 3 preseason games. You know, if you're an experienced, whether it's a coordinator or at least an experienced coach in this league, you're not going to show anybody really what you're doing in the preseason. You're going to play kind of your basic packages. So I'm expecting to see quite a few wrinkles in the actual defense we see. And I think, you know, as much as you hear people say, oh, you know, Rams week 1, we shouldn't, you know, start Justin Fields because of that defense. We know the Rams offense pretty good. And even though they replaced their quarterback, we know him pretty good too. Right. So I'm not as concerned about their offense. When I talk about theirs, I mean the Rams kind of, you know, making ours look bad. I think we're okay there.
Yeah. And, you know, this is no disrespect to, you know, Chuck Pagano, but I felt that there was kind of that edge that they were just missing last year that they had with Fangio. And a lot of the players are talking very highly of Sean Desai. He mentioned in an interview they want to be more aggressive with turnovers and you know, going attacking the ball. So I have a lot of faith. Sean Desai, maybe it's false hope, but I have hope. And kind of last question to wrap us up. Preseason's over. 3 games. We lost. We lost 1 badly. We won the other 2 though. And for you, what were the positives and what were some of the negatives of the preseason for the Bears?
So let me go back because you brought it up. I give zero weight into preseason record. Right? What you look for in the preseason is you're going to try some things out. You're going to get some players into situations that they've either not been in before or that we expect them to be in the regular season and see how they react to that. And so it's great. We went 2-1, and even the one, we said we lost it badly, but that's a team that has a legitimate shot at winning, if not being in the Super Bowl. So are we at that level yet? No. So, you know, did I look at that as a measuring stick for where the Bears are for this season? No. I think they came out and tried some things. You had a Bills team that came into the second preseason game motivated, right? They wanted to play well for Mitch. They wanted Mitch to look good. You know, he had some bad, you know, press when he left Chicago, that sort of thing. So, okay, I get it. It's a second preseason game. So, again, I don't hold a lot of weight to that. What I saw on the positive side, I saw Justin Fields look like a quarterback who understands the NFL game. Like, if not in week 1, whenever he gets his opportunity, he looks like he looks like a guy that can lead this team. And let's be honest, since I don't know if you can see the shirt, but down at the bottom it says 19. Oh, there you go, 1920. That we've been searching for a quarterback since then. So I saw a lot of good out of Justin Fields, and so that gives me positive. I saw some things that were concerning. And again, I'm going to chalk it up to being the preseason, right? I saw some play calling that I didn't love. It's back in Matt Nagy's hands. They're going with Andy Dalton. We didn't really get to see the running game. We didn't see Montgomery. You know, the offensive line has some question marks. But, you know, it's interesting because I saw some good from the offensive line week 1. I saw some bad from the offensive line week 2. And then I saw some, probably what we're going to see for the season, okay offensive line week 3. So I have a feeling that's what we're going to see in season as well. We're going to see some good games, and we're going to see some games where, like, where was that team from last week? Because if you remember, at the first preseason game, I told you, hey, no quarterback hits, no quarterback sacks, 3-point-something seconds. They were giving Fields to throw, and we didn't see that the second week. So that was kind of the good and the bad on the offense. On the defense, like I said, it's a big question mark for me. So if I had to give it a grade, unfortunately, it would probably be incomplete. But, to your point, I think Sean's going to come in. He's going to be very aggressive. I think they're going to go back to, I hope they bring in like Peanut Tillman and they teach the guys how to work that punch out, right? Because that's what they're going to need. They weren't very good in terms of interceptions last year. They weren't good in terms of causing turnovers last year. Look, just overall, they were an average. Any other team might be happy with, statistically where the Bears finished last year, but that's not a Bears defense. Mm-hmm. So I think it's an incomplete score, but I saw some good, I saw some bad.
Yeah, another kind of positive that I will add to that is I thought Khalil Herbert looked really good.
Yes, absolutely.
I think he's a guy, Tariq Cohen has been put on the PUP list. He's going to miss the first, 6 weeks. David Montgomery is obviously the one guy. Damian Williams, is behind him. Khalil Herbert, I think, is going to be able to make some plays. And if Matt Nagy can do what Matt Nagy was brought in to do and have a dynamic offense and creative play calling, I think we could get him in some great situations to make plays. But we'll see how that goes. That was one of my big positives from the preseason.
You definitely need more than one running back in today's NFL. Mm-hmm. And I think, people underestimate how good David Montgomery is. Some of them say, "Oh, he doesn't have breakaway." Yes, he does. I'll show you the highlights. He's got breakaway. He's got breakaway speed. So I'm really happy there. I said this to you last week. I think Damian Williams, who probably should have been the MVP in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs a couple of years ago, needs 5. I think you're going to see a different Damian Williams in week 5 and 6 than you're going to see in the first few seasons. Again, right? He took a year off, kind of the COVID stuff, whatever. So I think you're going to see a better player, in week 5, week 6 of the season. And then you have another kind of guy in Herbert who can come in, Khalil, and kind of that rookie, that enthusiasm that we see from rookies and really push both of those guys. Now, Tariq Cohen, whenever we get him back, and let's pause to say, our condolences. I know it's been a little bit, but our condolences to Tariq Cohen and his family. Mm-hmm. When he comes back, he's going to be, that change of pace, that gadget guy that he was, and I think it's going to be really important for the Bears because they're going to need stuff like that to really jumpstart the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all the questions that I had for you. Obviously, one more week. I can't wait. I believe it's 12 days, I think.
Hey, let me pause you. Let me ask you a question. So we eliminated the 4th preseason game, mm-hmm. and we're giving teams a week to kind of get their rosters in order, make the final cuts, final signings, final touches before the season. So they basically get a bye week to get all that stuff done and then kick off week 1. Now, as much as we love football and want to see another game, do you like the fact that the teams now have that time to heal up some preseason injuries, make some kind of adjustments in that? Do you like it or no?
Absolutely. I think the preseason serves as it's an audition, right, for the backups and for the fringe guys. And I think 3 games is enough to get an idea if those guys can play or not. I think you really shouldn't play your starters at all. I know the Bears did a little bit. The Seahawks didn't play any of their starters. A lot of other teams didn't see a single starter touch the field. So I think it should be seen as a time for backups and third stringers and fringe guys to show what they could do. I think 3 games is enough. And then to have that extra week to rest up. I mean, rest is so crucial. People underestimate how important the bye week is every year. Those guys should just have a week to just, get their bodies right. The coaches and the GMs can get their, roster straight. So I 100% prefer this over the 4 preseason games and no week in between that we've had in the past.
All right. Well, I'm with you. So make sure to send in all your comments and questions right here. You can subscribe, like, and share. YouTube, it's Monsters of the Midweek every week. And until next week, bear down.